Good evening and welcome to another screening of the graphic novel picture show. I'm your host, Sybil Pand. I'll be right back. There's been a lot of talk lately about Marvel rebooting their comics line, and I'm sure you're all waiting on the edge of your seats to hear what I, the ultimate authority in all comics-related media, have to say. Well, here you go. Literally, don't worry about it. In light of the colossal mess that is DC's New 52, it's understandable that some people might be a bit wary of Marvel seemingly going the same route with the upcoming Secret Wars. But given everything that's been revealed so far, I really don't think we should be expecting the same sort of thing. This whole Secret Wars Battle World thing sounds less like a reboot and more like what DC did back in the 80s with Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they just consolidated all their most popular characters into one continuity. The other thing that makes this reality-altering event completely different from DC's New 52 is how it was actually planned years in advance, instead of being some slapdick gimmick thrown together at the last possible minute to save their asses. Now, every time I say that, some dude bro feels the need to crawl out from whatever log he was living under and tell me how I'm wrong. That DC had been planning the New 52 for a long time. Which is incorrect. DC had been planning a reboot, just not this reboot. Let me explain. Just like the one we got, the original DC reboot was to be centered around the Flashpoint event, where Barry Allen, the Flash, became trapped in an alternate timeline where a war between Atlantis and the Amazons was destroying the world. The plan was for Barry to travel throughout Flashpoint's history, fixing all the things that were different. But he would eventually run out of time, and the new continuity would be an amalgam of the mainstream DC timeline and everything that Barry couldn't fix from Flashpoint. This is why so many of the tie-in comics to this event were all about the vast, detailed history of the Amazon-Atlantis War, and why others focused on characters so minor and insignificant to the main plot that there was no reason for you to even know who they were, let alone care about them. I can guarantee they did this with the expectation that characters like the Outsider and Citizen Cold would become major players in the new continuity, while Lois Lane and the Resistance and the Secret Seven would spin off into their own running series. But, as we can all clearly see, this is not what happened, because Time Warner, the company that owns DC, came in at almost the last minute and gave them an ultimatum. Basically saying, hey, you guys are not making enough money to justify our investment. So here's what's gonna happen. Either you fix it, or we're gonna come in, fire everybody, and take direct control. And we only need to make 10 books in order to justify the video games, movies, and t-shirts that are actually making us money. We'll have 2 writers, 2 artists, 1 editor, and that will be DC Comics from now on. So, in a desperate attempt to save themselves from going under, DC gave up on their original plan, put all their eggs in the reboot basket, and created the incomprehensible, contradictory clusterfuck that is the New 52's Prime Earth, which has no consistency between any of its books because none of the writers know what is and is not still canon. Because nobody in the world knows what is and is not still canon in DC. So it's basically left up to the individual writers to decide for themselves what they think still happened. This is why we have 3 different Lobos, why some books make reference to teams, people, and events that other books claimed never existed, and why the Wonder Woman in Justice League and the Wonder Woman in her own book are so different that they might as well be 2 completely unrelated characters. Conversely, Secret Wars actually has been in the works for years, and Marvel has been foreshadowing and building up to it in almost every book and every major crossover event since 2013. During Age of Ultron, Wolverine and the Invisible Woman's overuse of time travel put so much stress on the space-time continuum that they literally broke the barriers between the multiverse, allowing far easier passage between them. This sent Galactus to the Ultimate Universe and led directly to the Extermination event, which brought 3 different teams of X-Men together from 3 different universes. Around this time, a lot of Marvel titles started using time travel as a plot point. Superior Spider-Man, Deadpool, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, Thor, a whole bunch in the X-Men books. All New X-Men is a book whose entire premise is made possible by time travel. This all serves to further deteriorate the timeline and leads to Thanos' invasion of Earth in Infinity, and the reveal that all of the Infinity Gems have been destroyed except for one, the Time Gem. Original Sin makes a rapidly degrading situation worse with the murder of the Watcher, destroying a constant fixed point across the entire multiverse. And then there's Spider-Verse, which involves every Spider-Man from every universe teaming up to fight a group of immortals from the center of existence who want to eat them. Which, I mean, come on. There's no way that's not contributing to the destruction of everything keeping the universes separate. Nearly every running series since Age of Ultron has either contributed to or in some way foreshadowed the events of Secret Wars. It has been meticulously planned and executed across dozens of books. Unlike DC, Marvel seems to have a clear vision of what they want to do, and are able to communicate it effectively to their writers. And then there's the touchy subject of the reboot itself, which, based on everything I've heard and read, seems to be the wrong word for it. You see, like I said, Battleworld seems to have less in common with Flashpoint than it does the Crisis on Infinite Earths. If I were a betting girl, I would say that there will be no retcons, that every part of the main Marvel continuity that you remember will remain intact. But now, add to it a bunch of characters from all across the multiverse who just got dumped there. Okay? But we currently don't know what characters will survive Battleworld, or more accurately, which versions of the characters will survive. For example, in this new version of the Marvel Universe, we could end up with an Avengers team consisting of Old Man Logan, Frog Thor, Spider-Man Noir, Civil War Captain America, 1602 Daredevil, and the Iron Man from the Steampunk universe. These are all the most extreme and unlikely examples, of course. Honestly, I'd settle for the version of She-Hulk that fucked the Juggernaut. But this is the kind of thing we should be expecting. Characters from all across the multiverse dumped onto one Earth with all the memories of their individual worlds completely intact. There are some people who are still worried because both Marvel and DC are doing some major shakeups with their continuity later this year. And they're concerned about whether their favorite books are going to survive. Don't. Okay? I keep hearing people be all like, oh, is Ms. Marvel gonna survive? Is Squirrel Girl? Is DC gonna keep publishing Secret Six? Yes. Yes, they are. If there are any characters whom I can guarantee will be safe, it's the ones from these books. Ms. Marvel has drawn in so much love and goodwill that Marvel would be literally insane to cancel it. And as for Squirrel Girl and Secret Six, those books just started. As of this video, they both just now released their second issues. Neither Marvel nor DC is going to start a new running series, let alone one with cult favorite characters like Catman and Squirrel Girl, with plans to end it 3 months later. That makes sense neither from a creative nor an economic standpoint. So, just stop worrying about it, okay? I guess the thesis of this video is, I just trust Marvel more right now. And for the past several years, they've put out content that has been consistently better than DC's. They're willing to take greater chances on their more marketable characters in ways that DC just isn't. I just trust them more to make this decision and make something that doesn't suck. Though who knows? Maybe after Convergence and Secret Wars have come and gone, DC will get its shit together and the balance of power will swing back. I don't know. All we can do is wait and see. I'm Sybil Pandemic, and sometimes comics are a drag.